Mike, headquarters, AEA, we've been having a great chance to visit, but of course the main reason we're here is to get ready for this year's convention. There's so much that every year we look forward to when we visit with the AEA community, and with all due respect, there's just a little bit too much for us to cover, so trying to prep right now and getting as much information in advance is a good thing. Give us kind of an overview of what we can expect for 2015.
We're in the same process. It's January and we're getting ready for the show and still building some classes, but we've got over 75 hours we've already put together for the training. We focus on three different aspects: the business, regulatory, and technical. Putting together a really solid technical piece and covering everything from, obviously ADS-B technology is the big one. Still talking glass panels and glass cockpits, SATCOM, cabin connectivity, all the latest and greatest things we don't even know about that we'll obviously learn at the show on the first day. So we've got a full complement of training for our members.
For the member coming in for the first time, they've never done one of these before, how do they prepare for an event like this? How do they make sure they get as much out of it as possible? Because obviously this is a once-a-year opportunity.
Right. I'd hate to say close the hangar doors and bring your entire staff, but we certainly would like to see that. It's a long week and it's training spread throughout. One of the things that the association does that's unique from other shows is we don't compete with our exhibit hall or with our training sessions. So you really have those kind of spread out over 4 days, and you kind of have to see the schedule and target your time. I would say bring your chief inspectors, your quality managers, your lead technicians, and your junior technicians and look at the schedule and find out what fits the best, because it is fairly spread out over those 4 days and you can kind of target it if you can't make it for the whole week. We understand that, there's still business to be done, and that's why we try and spread it out and repeat some of the classes even so that they can make it to all of them and check off their continuous education requirements.
Now, how can somebody get up to date on what's available? Where do they find the course offerings, the schedules, and more important, how do they know what fits what they need to do and bring out of this show?
Of course, everything's on the website, aea.net/convention. You can find everything there, and we keep that up to date as new classes are added. And we obviously do some email blasts to the members. Hopefully we're keeping everyone up to date on what's coming out and what to prepare for. But it does change. It changes right up to the last day of the show, especially with the regulatory piece, as the regulations change up to the day of the show. And I know Rick battles that. But with the representation that we get from the FAA, we're hearing it from the source. When you're prepping for an AEA regional meeting or convention, you're working with up-to-the-minute information, both from the manufacturers and certainly from the regulators. Pride ourselves on that, the relationships we have with both of those, to really bring the best product to our convention.
What other advice do you have to somebody walking into something like this outside of attending the classes and so forth? What are the things that people miss? That they walk in, they didn't necessarily know what was available and need to be emphasized above and beyond and in association with the class environment?
I think, if I were preparing for the convention and the number of years I've obviously been a part of it, I would take a look at the schedule today, identify the classes that I want to go to and or send one of my technicians to go to so we can kind of tackle the entire event. And I would actually talk to the rep for that company and find out exactly what they're going to cover. We do a little bit of that in the description of the course, but find out what's new about this and see what they're going to cover and come prepared with your questions. Pretty much every class will take its full allotted time, but will allow for a Q&A period. And I think that's the one thing I don't see enough of is questions amongst your peers about issues you're having with that particular product or maybe a competing product. I think this is a real opportunity to get that from the technical experts. And I would say be prepared as you go into a class. Don't just take one to fill your time. Be prepared to go in there and have your questions ready, and you'll certainly get the answer.
One of the other things that's been commented to me from a number of the folks who have gone to these events are the exceptional opportunities for networking. Just the people you meet who may have the solution to the problem that's beating you to death at the test bench back home. But the networking here is just top-notch.
It is. I think, from the different training opportunities we have with the association, be it our classroom here at the headquarters or at the regionals or convention, I think you'd have the shop say that it is a family atmosphere. It's very social in that respect, but it's also an opportunity to find business-to-business relationships, even amongst folks that you probably would consider your competition. But the information sharing is so tremendous. Often you find that you're not competing, you're actually helping one another. And I think what they realize is that there's just a tremendous opportunity to learn from what another shop's doing, learn their best practices, maybe venture into a new category of aircraft or a new service for those aircraft. and maybe even partner. We've seen a number of opportunities come out of our show where the next thing you know, they're marketing collaboratively on services that they're offering together or merging, or AEA convention is certainly where that happens.
Final question. You get more than 2 or 3 hours of sleep this year at the convention?
The staff does not, and I think that's important for everybody to know. We have you in mind. Certainly, understand that it's about the attendee, and we try and make it about the attendee, and hopefully we're doing that. It is a long week. It really is, but it's worth it. It drives the rest of our year. This is our big show, and we try and utilize everything we learn from the networking opportunities to expand and grow our programs throughout the year. And so a lot of the things that the association offers have come out of what we've learned ourselves at the show. And yeah, we spend every waking minute extracting that out of that week. Yeah.
Mike, thanks so much.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Aero-TV is brought to you by Redbird Flight Simulations is dedicated to revolutionizing flight training by designing, manufacturing, and delivering affordable and innovative flight training technologies. Each Redbird device is designed to enhance the training experience for pilots of all levels, from student to ATP. Redbird is quickly becoming the industry standard for flight training. Since Redbird introduced its revolutionary FMX in 2007, colleges, universities, and flight training operations around the world have integrated Redbird products into their curriculum. It's time to discover what Redbird can do for you. Join the migration.